Hey, what's going on, guys? David here from Unqualified Critics, and today I am reviewing the TURBOGRAFX-16 Mini, which I was able to get from Amazon Japan. Now, this console is available now from Amazon Japan, at least as of the time of this recording, so I'll put a link below. Or if you want to get this from Amazon US, which is slightly cheaper, although we do not know when this will be released. I know Amazon says December 31st. I do not believe that. I think we're going to see this come out in the US in a few weeks. But if you want to be first in line there, get your pre-order in and use the link below if you want to support the channel. Now, as I mentioned before on my channel, I have an extra TURBOGRAFX-16 t-shirt. It is brand new and it is officially licensed. These are hard to find. They're partially sold out and they're only available on Amazon Japan, and they're pretty expensive. I think this thing was like 60 bucks, maybe even 65 after shipping and the tariff on importing something from Japan. Long story short, I bought one of these. It wasn't the right size. I picked up a large. Rather than return it and pay an exorbitant fee to ship it across the sea, I'm going to give it to one of you guys, and then I just picked up another one for myself. To enter, I will have a link in the comments, a pinned comment, sending you to a service that a lot of YouTubers use to manage these giveaways. So go ahead and click through that and follow the instructions. It'll be very simple. Leave comments and leave likes. And yeah, let's get this thing going. So here are my impressions on the TURBOGRAFX-16. The box is awesome. I considered importing a PC Engine Mini, but that box I think is really boring, so I held off. That was one of the reasons I held off for the TURBOGRAFX-16. I'm glad I did. The packaging is so cool. The console itself, you're either going to hate it or you're going to love it. I don't know what to tell you either way. I can tell you my opinion. I like it a lot, but I have nostalgia goggles on. I had one of these as a kid. Been looking forward to the TURBOGRAFX-16 Mini. Been hoping for it for years and been looking forward to it ever since it got announced. So I'm kind of pre-hyped for this. So take that, as you will. I have to say the console itself looks cool, and I knew it would next to the other mini consoles that I own, but it is larger, even proportionally larger than the other minis, which is a little bit weird. Moving on to the user interface for the console, this is absolute perfection. It looks so good. The animation when you pull out the game and actually slide in the Hue card, or if you play one of the CD-ROM games, it's going to spin up the CD-ROM and you get the sound effect. You've got little PC Engine Minis that dance around in the background, and it sounds kind of weird talking about a little detail like that because, what are we going to do with this? Well, we're going to play the games. But I actually think a huge part of the value for these mini consoles is this nostalgia type appeal. We all know there are a ton of ways to play these games. Increasingly, games from this era can be played on FPGA. You can buy original hardware and even modify that hardware to play through a digital signal with HDMI. You could play on an old school CRT, or you could just play this on a computer. So they have to give you something extra, a reason to get this. And I think that something extra is a lovingly created and crafted user interface. When you're selecting the games, navigating the menus, you're getting a really well balanced experience between switching between the American TurboGrafx and the Japanese PC Engine game list, which is great because this console was much more successful in Japan, and therefore there were a lot more game releases over there. So the fact that they're giving us access to those is really cool, even if many of them are in the Japanese language. There are a lot of the iconic TurboGrafx games here that you'd want to play. Games like Splatterhouse, Easebook 1 and 2, which I had never played, so I'm excited to have that. There are actually a bunch of games on here I've never played, but a lot of the iconic American TG games. Air Zonk is probably top of my list there, along with, of course, Splatterhouse, and Space Harrier I like a lot. There are also a lot of games here I've never played before. Military Madness I've always wanted to play, never had the chance. Now I do. Games I've never even heard of before, like JJ and Jeff. But then we get games that are pretty much unplayable, like Moto Rotor. That game's trash. I don't even know why it's here. I've heard that Power Golf is a really bad game. I haven't played it yet, so I'll reserve my judgment. But clearly they gave us some filler titles, and that would be part of my criticism. The TurboGrafx, the American game list, is rather short, clocking in at just 25 titles. And they left out some big ones, guys. They left out Legendary Axe. They left out Keith Courage and Alpha Zones. A lot of people don't like Keith Courage, and it's not a great game, but you know what? It was a pack-in game for the TurboGrafx. I know there are copyright issues, but they really should have made that work and got that here. I hope that the Mod My Classic team does their magic here and does a good job giving us a chance to add more games without screwing with this very awesome user interface. Looking at you, Project Lunar on the Sega Genesis Mini. Still mad I have to look at a RetroArch icon in my menu. Clutters it up, but I digress. But I think there really is a chance here to round out this collection. But when you zoom out and you consider the Japanese release games here, it's hard to argue. The other thing I love about this is we do get CD-ROM games. We do get even Super CD-ROM or Arcade CD-ROM. There's so many variants of TurboGrafx CD game formats. We also get a couple Super Graphics games. The hardware that was released under TurboGrafx, under that banner, was complex. It was convoluted. It makes it hard to collect for. So I'm glad they gave us that package. It would be like if the Sega Mini came with Sega CD and 32X games, which it didn't, which was a bummer. But here we're really getting a holistic collection. And in my view, and I do not consider myself a hardcore TurboGrafx person. I'm not a collector of it. There are other people out there that have a much more complete view of the library than I do. But I have some knowledge of the library, and I think there are a few games here I'd want to add, but it probably wouldn't be a long list. I think the games list we do get is good. Splatterhouse and Airzonkk, I absolutely love. You could not convince me these are not great games. I think they're fantastic. I've played Splatterhouse 2 and 3. I still think the original is the best. It wouldn't be a TurboGrafx without this game. Props to Konami for biting the bullet and including an M-packaged game here. But let's also be honest, who's the audience for the TurboGrafx-16 Mini? Early millennials and Gen X. It's not going to be a lot of kids playing this, right? This is an obscure console from only a couple years, late 80s, early 90s, and I think it's really going to be people that grew up with it who buy it. And that's supported by the fact that this so far is selling or was pre-ordered much more broadly in Japan than in the US. But if you didn't get a chance to play this, even though I don't think you're likely to play it, I think it's going to be mostly people who played it back in the day. But if you're in that group, I'm telling you, you should get this console. It's a great way to round out the mini console collection and a great way to play, in my opinion, some really lost gems over the years. So I hope you enjoyed this review. If you want to enter the giveaway and get that TurboGrafx-16 t-shirt, the official t-shirt, if you go on Amazon US right now and you search for this t-shirt, you're going to see a bunch of junk, screen printed trash that's like 20 bucks. This thing is the premium that's hard to get. If you're interested in that, hit the link below to follow through. And again, as always, leave comments and likes. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you're going to be picking this up, and if you are, which games are you most looking forward to. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.
Dripping lights paint the sky.